do one of his presentations, and he said, don't worry, it'll be fine, you can just wing it, just stand up and talk for 4 minutes about anything you want to talk about. So I thought that would be fine until he sent me a video. He followed it up with a YouTube video of the last person who did it, who's now on the internet. So I thought I'd better prepare a couple of things. I'm going to talk about an interest of mine, which is languages. So I've always been interested in languages probably since I was about 15, 16. And since that time it's developed into a kind of obsession, whereby I'm always kind of continually trying to learn something new or trying to learn another language. Rather than just kind of chat to you randomly about different things I've done and interests, I thought I'd tell you about something in particular. So I'm going to try and do a 2-minute 50 description of the Arabic verb root system. So basically, just a quick overview. Arabic is a language, about 200 million speakers. It's a Semitic language, so it's got relations with languages like Hebrew and Amharic, the Ethiopian language, and some others as well. But Arabic's quite interesting because there's 3 different types of language within one. There's MSA, which is a modern standard Arabic, which is a language, if you go on to Al Jazeera or you turn on the news or you read the paper, that's the educated language that they would speak between themselves. If you'd like to read the Quran or religious texts or talk to somebody in a mosque and understand the vocabulary, you'd need to speak the classical Arabic. So that's a separate language. And then thirdly, you've got the dialect. So if you go to Cairo, for instance, and you speak in modern standard Arabic, which is the language of the TV, of the news and of conferences, if you went to a professional conference, you sound like a bit of an idiot. It's probably the equivalent, not quite, but to give you an idea, it's the equivalent of going around London speaking Shakespeare in English. People would understand what you're talking about, but wouldn't generally, they would think, first of all, you're obviously not from here, and they'd also find you a bit strange and funny. So it's not advisable. If you wanted to actually live in a country for a long period of time, you'd learn the dialect, which again is a completely different language to the modern standard. The root system in 2 minutes now. So Arabic is formed of 28 consonants and 3 vowels, which are long and soft vowels. So you've got a trilateral root system, which effectively means you've got 3 consonants in most of the words that make up the root of that word and conveys the meaning of that word. So if you take, for instance, ka, ta, ba, which are 3 consonants, that conveys the meaning of writing. And from that, if you add prefixes and suffixes and change the vowels around, you can change the meaning of the word and convey a slightly different meaning, which I think is really cool and kind of plays to my mathematical side. It's very formulaic, so it's a very complex system. But once you get your head around it, it's quite formulaic. So carrying on that kind of train of thought, maktab is a place of writing, so an office. And you can see you've still got the kataba there. Maktaba would be a library. A katib would be a writer, and kitab would be something you write in, so a book. And that applies for lots of different roots. So once you've learned a root, you can spot that root and identify new words without actually having to learn those words. Whereas in languages like English, you'd actually have to learn separate words. 12 seconds. So I'd say Arabic is a very difficult language to get your head around the grammar, but once you've done it, it's very, very formulaic, mathematical, and it's quite neat. So I really like it.